In the 1930s, a remote farmhouse in Cashan's Gap on the Isle of Man became the focus of weird events. Following a poltergeist outbreak, a small strange creature appeared. The Irving family, who owned the house, heard the animal speak. It claimed to be a mongoose called Jeff, who had been born in India in 1852. Jeff haunted the family for almost a decade and became world famous. He was even mentioned in the British Parliament. Although the house at Cashan's Gap was demolished in 1971, Jeff remains a Fortean icon to this day.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's me, Barry Tadcaster, back again. And this is my old mate, Jeff the Talking Mongoose. I'm an earth wonder at world, me. Thou shalt never know what I am. I already know what you are, you're a talking mongoose. Well, that's by the by. I was born in New Delhi in 1852. Hey, well, you've aged quite well, ain't you, mate? Oh yes, oh yes. Once again, it's that time of the week. It's on the Track Xtra, and I'm here with Jeff the Talking Mongoose. Jeff a referee, what's happening this week? We'll be investigating a pharmaceutical cluster incorporating pills on wire.
I really like the old crickets.
Hi, my name's John Downs and I'm the director of the Centre for Fortean Zoology. Those of you who are regular viewers of this channel, and if you're not, why not? Any more such recalcitrants and I'll set Charlotte on you, will know that the other day my friend, colleague and adopted nephew, Dr. Max Blake, gave us all a real treat when he live streamed for us all the way from the Moscow deep in the Russian capital. I know that I'm showing my age here, but I find the fact that one can do stuff like this purely from a mobile phone absolutely awe-inspiring. And I want to see technology like this utilised more within serious cryptozoological research. We are already in early talks to see if it's feasible to construct an array of trail cameras powered by a solar panel and which upload all the images they have gained to a passing communications satellite. To me, this is the future of cryptozoological research, and in many ways under this model the intrepid researchers hacking their way through impenetrable jungle will have to be augmented, though not entirely replaced, by technicians. It's an exciting prospect, and I hope that I live long enough to see it come to pass. But I digress. In this episode we start off with the second part of Max's film from Moscow, which I found totally fascinating. I had to boost the sound levels on the bits when Max was speaking, so please forgive me for the slightly ropey sound, but I think you'll agree that it was really, really worth it. Enjoy.
That's alright. Yeah, I just think we cut out a bit. We've missed a lot of the freshwater stuff. The signal just seems to be awful.
Never mind. It's
a bit of a shame, because that's the best bit, really. Sorry?
I find this absolutely amazing that you're streaming video to me from an underground thing in Moscow. I mean, that's wonderful.
Yep, it is pretty cool. It's one of the few places I've seen that's got really nice mangroves. Actual live mangrove trees.
That's lovely.
Very cool.
What have they got in the pond?
They've got a few things, actually. They've got archerfish, these gorgeous anemones. I don't know if you can see those.
I can see them, yes. It is very blurry. The signal's gone down quite badly, but it's still...
Okay, sorry if the signal goes.
It's not your fault, you silly man.
And then there's quite a lot of touch pools and things, which is quite cool.
Yeah, I think they're particularly important, especially if you're trying to get kids involved in this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they've got a massive ray tank as well. I mean, this honeycomb ray must be at least a metre across.
That's fantastic. And are they touchable?
Sorry?
Can people actually reach down and touch the honeycomb ray?
Only if the ray wants to come up. So you can see this one coming up a little bit.
Well, they're naturally very inquisitive creatures, aren't they?
They are. They're quite bright. So yeah, you can see it coming up here.
This is really, really impressive.
It's very cool.
And I tell you
So
what...
they've probably got...
Carry on.
I think they've got about half a dozen different species of ray in that tank. And they've got silky smoothhound as well. There's a guitar fish over there at the back.
And I tell you what, something which is... I don't know if it's just that the microphone's not picking it up, but the punters, the members of the public, seem to be being quiet and respectful. They're not all shouting at the top of their voices.
You'd be surprised. I think it seems like a fairly calm day at the moment. But I have seen some people acting like dicks. And it's a bit weird in here because you can... There's loads of signs and things saying no flash, don't take any flash, don't use flash. And there's security guards who will tell you off for using flash, which is great. But they've got like official photo booths set up in front of some of the tanks for people to have photographs taken. And they can use flash. So they can use flash when it's convenient for Mosquarium, but not for the public.
I couldn't... Oh, wow. I'm always impressed with those fish.
They're brilliant.
They are just so peculiar. They look like something Roger Dean would have painted.
They're wonderful. It's just sort of that peculiar fish section.
Well, I like peculiar fish.
It's nice, yeah, it's good. What's in there? Not sure. This is probably my favourite bit, which is for coldwater boxfish. So they've got these two bizarre species of boxfish. You've got one species which is sitting in the corner over there, and then these other two above us are male and female. So
Where,
the male, the blue one.
Where are they from?
Australia, I think. South coast of Australia. But they're the most peculiar little things.
They're gorgeous.
They're wonderful, aren't they?
I like the one with the horns over its eyes, particularly in the yellow tummy.
Yeah, it's called that's the female's ornate boxfish. That's the male. So I think they're wonderful. What else have we got?
Wow.
Yeah, gorgeous pipefish of some species.
Do we know where from?
No, I don't. I'll have a look. Southeast Asia, I think, in the seas around there. They've got about 4 species, which is quite nice.
Do you know if they're breeding these behind the scenes?
I highly doubt it.
That is just ridiculous.
It's a brilliant frogfish, isn't it?
Oh, it's utterly wonderful.
And we'll be back with the third and final part of Max's broadcast from Moscow very soon.
Heracles inspectatus is the name that has been given to a giant bird in New Zealand, the fossils of which were found in 2008. The senior curator of natural history at Canterbury Museum, Paul Schofield, said the fossil had originally been thought to have been from a giant eagle. Schofield explained that the remains had been found in a fossil deposit from the early Miocene epoch about 19 million years ago. Back then the area was a subtropical environment quite similar to northern New South Wales and even had similar vegetation. He also added that the parrot's weight meant there was a possibility it was flightless. Although the bird's diet is unknown, Schofield noted most parrots today are vegetarian. Estimated at weighing in at about 7 kilograms or 1.1 stone with a height of around 1 metre, 3.28 feet, this is the largest parrot ever recorded in the country and would have been more than twice as heavy as the kakapo, which had, until now, been the largest known parrot. Oh grief, no! Oh dear! Good grief!
Well, that was predictable.
It always amazes me how people who claim to be researchers, particularly cryptozoological researchers, can say that they don't have a library, they don't have a collection of books on the subject, because to me the most important tool in a researcher's arsenal is his library. And so Richard and I are going to go through one at a time and almost at random books taken from the CFZ library so we can recommend or otherwise. Okay, what's the next book we have from my lovely assistant, the lovely Carl? Ta-da! Out of the Shadows by our old mates Paul Cropper and Tony Healy. Richard.
This is in the top 5 cryptozoological books ever written. Not only is the content fascinating and well written, but it's well presented. You can have the most interesting content in the world, but if you don't write it well, the book is still come over as dry. This one doesn't. It's about cryptids in Australia. They don't include sea serpents for the reason that was a whole other volume. It would have been way too big. But they include the mainland thylacine, the thylacine or Tasmanian wolf in Tasmania, mystery big cats down under, the marsupial tiger of Queensland, the yowie, the ape man of Australia, the bunyip, and it's absolutely great. It's got information in that had never ever been recorded or seen before, and Tony Healy and Paul Cropper really do the legwork. They've researched this for years and years and years. They've been all over Australia investigating these reports. One of the most interesting was by a senator called Bill O'Chee, an actual politician, and he came forward to say that when he was a boy, him and many other Boy Scouts and the Scoutmaster and the campsite owner had seen a massive yowie, and they were all pretty frightened of it, and it had been tearing up vegetation and making threatening gestures and approaching the campsite that they were at, and they seemed to think that the guy that ran the campsite knew about it and knew it was there, but that they went out to investigate, and apparently it followed them and got quite close behind them. And for a politician to come out and say this, I mean, it could ruin his career. That you know, that takes some guts, and I don't think someone would be making something up like that.
What do you think about the yowie?
It's a weird one, the yowie, but you have to remember that in times past the amount of ocean between Asia and Australia was a lot less. There was a lot less ocean to cross, so I think the ancestors of the yowie may have been swept across with a process called rafting. That doesn't mean that they actually built rafts like we do. It means when animals get swept across on great mats of vegetation during storms and tsunamis or earthquakes. In the Sumatran tsunami of 2004, a guy was trapped on a great mat of trees and vegetation for over a week, and he survived on rainwater and coconuts and things. And this is a known process of animal distribution, so I think the ancestors of the yowie, whether they were, you know, some form of Homo erectus relative or from the Homo habilis lineage or something like that, or something entirely different, may have been swept across to Australia, and then they've evolved in the Australian bush.
Well, even today it's actually not that far from New Guinea, or the islands off New Guinea, to the northernmost part of Australia, is it?
No, but you know, back in the last ice age, Asia, you know, the area of the Philippines and down in Indonesia and that were much closer due to the differing sea levels to Australia. There were land bridges, and there was still water between Asia and Australia, but a lot less of it, and a lot less deep.
Well, I've heard it said, Richard, that you really like going down under.
I do. Yes, I've been on the track of the thylacine, or the Tasmanian wolf, 3 times now, and I hope to go back. I've interviewed lots of good witnesses, park rangers, and a guy who goes out shooting feral cats, and an old logger who's all seen these things or heard these things. Very distinctive call the thylacine has. I think I may have smelled the creature myself once, because it has this aroma very similar to a hyena. And of all the cryptids, I think it's the one most likely to exist. And this book, which sadly now is very hard to get hold of, it changes hands for very, very big sums, and it's high time it was reissued. But this book is one of the best books of cryptozoology you'll ever read. If you can get hold of it, get it, or you can. Tony Healy, Paul Cropper, Out of the Shadows, Mystery Animals of Australia. Fantastic book. If you want to support us and help us make more content like this, please press like, subscribe, follow our Facebook page, and check out our Patreon.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you've probably guessed, this isn't an ordinary episode of On the Track Xtra. All sorts of things are happening, none of them particularly nice. Corinna's off into hospital next week for her nuclear scan, and Mother is still away in the nursing home, and Graham's busily trying to convert half of what used to be my parents' dining room into a sleeping area for her because she can't manage the stairs anymore. So all sorts of horrid things are happening at the CFZ at the moment, and we're going to have to play each episode on an as and when basis. This one's going to come out on Monday, and I hope that there'll be another one Monday next week as well. But I'm afraid at the moment I'm making no promises, and everyone's just going to have to wait and see. On the Track comes out once a month, and in between episodes there are episodes of On the Track Extra, which we aim, but don't promise, to get out approximately weekly. We're also trying to get our heads around the new features offered by those jolly nice fellows at YouTube, and so, for starters, why not check out the 2 episodes of On the Track Extra that I'm linking to here at the end. If you haven't seen them already, I suspect you'll enjoy them a lot.